Okay, welcome back to Maker Code. Today I'm going to be trying to fix these cowl pieces. So this one, when I printed, came out pretty well. Small blemish here, small blemish here. Not a big deal. So I'd hoped I wasn't going to have to do anything. The supports were on this side, so you get a little bit of that, but that's not a big deal. But getting this to fit on the build plate was really complicated. I mean, we're talking like just a tweak of this was making it fit or not fit. So when I finally got it to the point where it fit on the build plate, I said print, and it came out pretty bad. So you'll see here, there's all these lines. There's lines here. The nose part is pretty bad also. So I technically can get away with it, but I thought, why not try using the UV resin, since I have a resin printer, with some baby powder. Mix the two, kind of cover over it, and see what it does. So first, let me break off all of these supports. Let's see what we're really working with here. So yeah, even where the supports are, it's raised. So I don't know, that orientation, I guess, wasn't the greatest. And you can see here, it's pretty bad. Definitely worse than this side. So I'm not really sure how this one came out so well. This was printed in PLA Plus from Polymaker. But yeah, everything. So here came out bad. It's all raised versus here it came out pretty much flush. I mean, everywhere here it looks pretty bad. It's all chewed up. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how bad it was. Here it's just all raised. So I'm gonna try it. Worst case, I'll reprint this, see if it comes out better a second time around. But I thought I'd try this first just to give it a try, because yeah, it came out really smooth here. And in here, I mean, there's huge divots in it, so it did not come out good. And normally I would just use some spot putty, just put it in there. But I wanted to try this method. Why not? So I got the Wolverine claws done, and I was going to try to clean those up, but I was going to test this out first. So I have all this resin, and watching other people do this, like Uncle Jesse, basically. No, it wasn't that. It was another place. It was a 2-to-1. So honestly, I don't know. I have this resin. It says it's smoky black. So I don't know if that's going to help me or not. I'm just going to put a small amount in there. Not too much. As everyone always says, use gloves with resin. So using gloves on a resin or on a silicone mat. I can't get the cap off of this guy. So we're just going to pour a bunch in and see what happens. I don't, again, know what ratio I'm at right now, but it's a large amount to a small amount. Probably probably too much. But we'll see. I don't want it to run too much. I want it pretty thick. But I also don't want it this chunky. So hopefully I can get rid of all these chunks. And we'll see how this turns out. So yeah, it came out pretty thick. It turns out when you look for baby powder now, it's all just cornstarch. So it's basically cornstarch. But looks okay. Other problem I ran into is this piece does not fit in my UV light box. It's way too tall. I was thinking I could put it in Play-Doh or something to kind of elevate it to fit. But right now it doesn't fit. So I have to do it using like a flashlight or something, because that's all I got. So now I got all this baby powder everywhere. Jeez. Okay. So overall, consistency is pretty thick. I might go just a little bit thicker. I want it kind of the consistency of syrup. Right now it's a little lighter than that. Yeah, this is feeling more like syrup now. That way it's not running everywhere. I'm just going to put a really light coat in the beginning. But a light coat with this thickness should be good. So yeah, now it's really thick, kind of like syrup. Not quite honey, just like a syrup. Okay, I'm going to take a small dip. And the video I'd seen said to dab it near your edges. Don't just go in there so I don't lose that. So I don't lose the detail in those grooves. And I kind of expect to have to do, based on my normal UV drawing, really thin coats, and I'll have to do multiple coats. So I didn't do any sanding on this yet, just because I know I'm going to have to sand it anyway. So what's the point? Let's just fill in all the grooves first, and then I'll sand it. I'm trying to follow the grooves in the 3D print. So I'm like filling in those grooves more than anything. Okay. Again, I'm trying to keep it pretty thin right now in this first coat, just to see what happens. And it's also kind of bringing out all those blemish details, so hopefully this comes out good. I'm not really applying a lot here. Even going back to remove the excess, because I don't want it to dry, or I don't want to get on too thick and kind of create a skin. That's one of the problems I've had with playing with this UV printing is with resin, if it's too thick, kind of creates a skin instead. Now I'm trying to get into this groove without putting too much in the groove. Brush it all out so it's not pulled up in there. Just keep going at it. Okay, I made way too much based on how much I've consumed so far. Hair stuck in there. Okay, get that out of there. Get this nose now. Definitely needs a little more on that nose. And I'm just kind of going over everything just because I want it to be an even amount everywhere, so that I don't have to fill in dimples or anything. Okay, so the last part. Get it all in there. Nice and thick. It's kind of nice. I was trying not to get this part, but I did, so looks like I'm going for it also. Because I don't think I can just clean it off. Get out of the grooves. Okay. I might use one more clean one to remove some of this excess. There we go. Trying to fill that back in. Oh, nothing I could do there. Yeah. Some of this excess off. Since this part was pretty good to begin with. Okay, so let's hit it with some UV light now. Move that out of the way. Put this down. I have this flashlight, and I also have some glasses because, you know, I don't want to deal with the reflection. And now we're just gonna hit it. Hanging on with this UV flashlight I have. I doubt it's very strong, but should do good enough. And then my UV box also has like a little flashlight piece, so I'm going to hit it with that also, just in case this one, oops, well, that's good. I touched it, it didn't leave a mark. So this is already looking pretty good. So like this dimple, I might have to build it up or something. Okay, I'm gonna try it with my other one just in case. So this one has a smaller beam, but should also do it. And all around the edges. This one doesn't have a cord, so I can't reach it as far. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely dry now. No tackiness, no residue. Let me get all these edges though, just in case. So it should be quick and easy to do a couple layers then, just to build it all up. Again, I have to be careful on the details part, but then I have something to sand down. Okay, so let's see this without these glasses. Yeah, I'll fill in this specifically. Fill in here a little more. Fill in here a little more because it's filling it in. But again, this isn't me trying to remove layer lines, which it basically did all that. Little bit of residue right there that I might hit it with the flashlight one more time. This is me trying to fill it in so that I can come back and have something to sand down. So basically adding, just making it additive so I have something to sand down. Same thing like a filler primer, but there were just such large areas. Filler primer wouldn't have worked that well there. But overall, this is going pretty quick. I'm trying to tell if there is a residue or not left behind. Because now when I'm doing it, I kind of see something, but maybe if I hit it real quick again, after rubbing it, maybe it's just a little too thick in some spots. But overall, I think this will be good. I'm going to sand it after doing 2 more layers. So let's put the next layer on. And then in some spots I might go a little heavier. Okay, so let's see. Layer lines kind of going this way. Again, try not to get it in that groove too much. And I think because this is so flat now, it's going on a little thicker, which I think is fine. Definitely got rid of the layer lines. So if I was just going after layer lines, that one coat may have been enough. But this is trying to fix a different problem, so I have to go a little more. Again, on all these problem spots, kind of filling it up. Trying not to get it too much into that groove. Yes, and the last little bit here. Okay, then we'll hit it hard here. So I'm going to add a little bit thicker there. Okay. Use the UV light again, so some glasses. And hit it with the UV light. That out of the way just in case. Harden it. Around the eyes. I mean, this bottom portion here looks, other than some air bubbles, maybe from off-gassing or something, already looks really good. This nose piece, I can't tell with these glasses on, but it's looking good. I've also seen people reinforce their 3D models this way. This is PLA, so maybe it's PLA plus, but I've never really exposed it to a lot of outdoor temperatures to know what's going to happen. So who knows, maybe it will strengthen it in temperature also. But I'm just trying to build up a layer to sand off. That's kind of what I'm going for. So definitely looks a lot thicker. When you touch it, it's a little oily, which is pretty typical of when I'm printing these. It kind of has an oily finish, and then I have to go and put it in the bath one more time just to get that last bit oily feel away. But it's not like tacky or anything, leaving fingerprints. So that's good. This part is almost completely smooth. Definitely a lot of air bubbles. So you can possibly see all these air bubbles here. Possibly you're off-gassing or something, but I'm not too worried about that. Yes, I think if I do one more layer, yeah, with these little dimples, I should have enough that I could sand it down here. Here's okay, still got that texture to it. Here I gotta work on a little more. I haven't got enough in there. Here I definitely have to add some more, so I might just do like a thick coat right there, right now, just to fill it up. So let's try that real quick. So I'm kind of doing a spot fill, you can say. So I will have to clean it up in sanding, but won't be as bad. It's not like I could, I mean, I've never tried it, melt plastic and put it in there, but this should give me a nice smooth feathered in effect so that I don't have a lot of extra cleanup to do. So let's try this real quick. It's a little thick. So I'm just cleaning up this one bad area. Kind of feathered it in so it won't have a lot of sanding. Put a little too much down here, so I will have to clean that up. Run it all over it real quick. It's not really necessary. Okay, now this was a thicker layer, so now I have to test and see. It's not like a skin, which is good. Run it one more time. Good. As far as heating it up, doesn't seem too bad. I'm also using the paper towel to kind of give me a snag feel, see if it's snagging too much. It's not doing too bad. I'm going to clean up this spot. Again, I'm just trying to get it all level again so that for the final coat, it'll just be an even layer. So in this spot, I had kind of missed it a little bit. So let's see here. Let's kind of clean that up. I don't have to do too much work here. Just trying to get this excess off. Make it flow back a little bit. Okay, I'm just trying to get this little portion down here. Looks good. Hit it with the flashlight. So if you just wanted to do layer lines, 2 layers and you're ready. You've got it all filled in, ready for paint. So I'm gonna do one more layer real quick. This won't be like a thin coat just to get it smooth out everywhere. Work out all the little details, but you can kind of see already that other than the surface defects, that it worked pretty well. Then I might just do the other one, just remove the layer lines. Okay, so let's do one more layer. This one again won't be too thick. Try not to get it into the groove so that stays defined. Nice thing is there's like a lip on it, so it's kind of keeping out the resin and keeping my sponge from going in the resin. This is just a normal sponge, so nothing special here on that part. I'll feather this in now. Looking good. Go. Okay, so almost done. After you paint this on, you kind of let it sit for a second, then it all kind of self-levels, which is nice. Just going back now, getting this edge. Get this edge. Okay, let it kind of level out while I get this side. Looks like I'm going to have to use the dry one because I got too much in this groove. Okay. Everything is in there now. Let's see if I can get it out of this groove. Yeah, it's coming out. Good. Looks good. It's nice and tacky, so it's not all falling off. I'm gonna tilt it a little. Let it all self-level. Even hit this spot a little. Just because I got it over the edge a little. Okay. Should be good. I'm doing this on a Wham Bam silicone mat, so it should be easy to clean off afterwards. Let's not let it settle too much. Where's my glasses? Got my glasses on. I want to keep my eyes forever. Okay, I'm going around the edge first. Move that out of the way. It's looking good. Yes. I'm just going back and forth. Okay, flip it over. So I've realistically only been working on this for like 10-15 minutes, so not that long. And I would have gotten it in one coat if it was just the layer lines I was going after. But since I was going after also some problem spots, it took a little longer, but this is probably the best way to fill in layer lines I've seen so far. It's quick and easy, it's not too messy. And I bet if I didn't have these dimples, so I'm going to try it on the other one though, just because it worked out so well. And I bet in 2 coats I could primer it and have it ready to go. There's a couple of spots that need to be cleaned out now. So here, and this looks okay. I kind of wish I'd gone a little bit more there with the resin. But overall, it's all dry, it's not hot, so this should work with PLA. I don't feel anything through this glove as far as heat goes. So it shouldn't cause it to get extremely warm and warp the PLA. Yeah, nothing on my fingers. Okay, let's see what we got now. So it's still here, this little crevice. I might add a little more. Here looks good. Looks like I filled that all in. Here looks definitely good. I filled that all in. I might add a little more on this edge. And then this edge right here, since I will be sanding it and it's just the edge, it's not 100% necessary to clean up. But there's a couple of spots here that are a little lower than the other, and after I sand it, it should be okay. Same thing here. It's a little thick and then a little thin there, but that should be fine. So I'm just going to add in a little more in this area, just because I could feel the difference in height. So I want to kind of get that back up to the same height. So I'm going to find kind of the right angle. Gonna put it thicker in here. Feather it a little bit. Same thing here. Feather it a little bit. Because I don't know how much I really need to add in here. I'll let it self-level now. Feels like I need a little more in here. A little more right there. Okay. Kind of let it self-level. Because I did that, because I didn't clean it enough. It's probably better if I do this and just feather it in. Feather it all in. There we go. Same thing here. Feather it in. Feather it in. There. It should be good. My happy little trees are there. Okay. Let's let this dry up now. There's going to be some cleanup on this edge, but I think if I'm just sanding it, should be okay. Same thing right here. We'll see. No matter what, I had to raise this edge, so. Looking good. Okay, so there are a lot of layer lines in here now that I want to clean up. So I'm going to clean it up since I'm here. Set this up real good again. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little too happy with this stuff that I might need to calm it down a little and just sand it. But here I'm just trying to level it all out. I might as well. Since it seems to self-level itself, just let it self-level also. And here I wanted to fix it anyway, so let's try to add up a little there. So again, watch out for that edge. Watch out for this edge. Okay. And I gotta add all around here now just to get it all even. Yeah, I'm liking that this self-levels itself, so it makes it a little easier to add on the coat without having to worry too much. If I put it over everything versus just in one spot. So do that now. Yes, and then I'm going to do this bottom portion to make it all level. And I think I'm done with this piece, and I'll sand it up and see what it looks like. Getting all the edges. And now just adding this in there. Let it sit for a second. Okay. Let me clean this edge up a little. So I'm just trying to make it blend a little more. And then I gotta add a wet coat just a little bit right here because it moved. Just so it's even again. Okay. Let it sit. Just to level out, and then I'm done with this piece. Let me get this little edge. I'm just going after the fine little details now. Okay, let it flow back down. Okay, looking good. Okay, that should do it. Looks all level for the most part. No one's gonna notice unless they're staring right at it up close. Okay, I'm going after the edges first. Kind of do a quick pass just to kind of keep things where they are. This flashlight was like $20 on Amazon. Put a link in there to one of the flashlights I used. I just randomly chose one of the resins I had, so any UV resin you can buy. I bought it off Amazon again, so I'll put a link to this exact one. And then some sponge brushes, which again I just bought off Amazon. Mixed it in a cup with some baby powder. Nothing special in the baby powder. If anything, I was trying to find the one with the least amount of ingredients, where this one says it comes with aloe and vitamin E. I don't know what that really means and if it's going to have any effect on the resin, but for the most part, it's just cornstarch. As So I mixed the two until I got the consistency of, I would say, syrup. So like pancake syrup. And that was good because when I applied it, it didn't just run everywhere. The resin was pretty thick to begin with, but still runny. Going around the edges now. I believe this flashlight specifically was promoted to like look in your hotel room to find how clean it really is, kind of thing. So I don't know, I just needed a UV flashlight. Okay. When I feel it, it's hard already, so it's good. No issues there. It's all looking good. Can't see anything wrong with it that I would be worried about. Do the eye socket a little better. Here. Okay. I'm going to throw this into my UV box just while I'm working on the second one. I honestly don't think it's necessary, but why not while it's just sitting around? Because this one's going to need a lot of sanding, but I already knew that. There's still some raised edges here. I don't feel like going back and trying to make this all level, but I think if I were just to add a little bit of resin right here between this little pocket, I think I could fix it. Now I'm like tempted to do it just so I have less sanding to do. But everything else just came out perfectly smooth now. Ooh, I touched it or something there. Damn, I have to fix that. So I guess since I'm fixing this spot, I might as well fix it. I must have touched it or something. But all this looks good enough that just with a quick sand, I'll get it smooth. Here looks fine. Quick sand, I'll get it smooth. Just right here, and then I guess I touched it or something. I'm not really sure what happened there. I could see here, might have had like a thick spot or something of resin or a baby powder or something that didn't cure right. But just like that, it's fixed. And hopefully just like this, it'll be fixed here. Let's do it all the way to there, just in case. There. Okay. This needs to be smoothed out a little more. It's kind of like a little. Go. Okay. Let's hit this real quick. Be done with this one. So it's been about 5 seconds. I've been hitting it with the light. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. 20 seconds. 25. 30 seconds. Okay, it should be dry. Yeah. Got that little greasy feel to it. Yeah, so now I can sand this all. For the most part, it's flush, but it's at least raised up. That's all I was really worried about, so I could keep it all flat when I do sand it. So I'll sand it in a few minutes. Let me put it into the UV thing right now while I work on this other one. Like I said, my thing will not fit it, so I'm just gonna kind of shove it in the box. There we go, let's turn it on. Oops, turn it off. Again, this box part isn't necessary, but I might as well do it since it's just sitting there. Okay, so this one. All I'm going to be doing on this one is just filling in the layer lines. There's a small little dimple right there that I'm not too worried about. But my goal is to just do 1 or 2 layers, and that's it on this, so I don't lose any of the fine details. But actually, then the details will match. So let's see, layer lines are going this way. Going right up to the edge without going into it. Just getting all this. And not going into the layer line. Okay, let's get a nice coat here. Again, not into the... Of course, my cat is now going to bother me. Okay. Yes. So depending on the size of your part, you know, this step right here, it doesn't have to take that long. Just gotta get all the layer lines filled. Kind of hit that groove too much. Gotta go back and clean it out. Coming around here now to the eyes. Get up to the edge without going in. Go around it. Go with the layer lines again, just so they fill it. I'm always trying to make the strokes with the layer lines because I feel like I'll have a better chance of getting it filling the layer lines without causing too much change to the part. But I don't know until later. I'm gonna do a quick pass into that groove, but not too much. And then we're almost done. First coat. And like I said, because it's self-leveling, it's kind of, if there are any high spots or anything like that, it's kind of cleaning itself out. So I can kind of see where the high spots are and go after it. Okay, that all looks good. Let me hit this there. Spread it out again. Yeah, that part's gonna be a little difficult. Let me try this. Try not to get my sponge too full, but remove some of this material. And then go back lightly. Trying to get as much off my sponge as I can, but still make it wet. So I can get the edges of it still. Okay, I mean that looks pretty good. Touch the edge. Let me. Yeah, just trying to fix this last part. Okay. See if I can get it. Yes. Good. Yes. No, overall looks pretty good. Just trying to get all the excess spots off. Okay. Now I'm just playing with it too much. Okay. Let it sit here for a second. Just self-level. Okay. Playing with the edges a little bit. Okay, looks good. Let's see on one pass what the layer lines look like. So far everything's looking good. Can't see any problems. One layer might be enough. Yeah, I might just do one layer only. This print wasn't bad, so I'm not really having to clean up any problem spots. And it looks like it went into all the grooves. So just finishing drying it off. Get all the edges. Yeah, there was some on the edge here, so I gotta clean that off. Looking good though. Any other spots? Yeah, right there. Inside all the eye grooves. Looks good. I don't, I think I can send that out. Just where I was playing with it at the last second, I screwed it up a little bit, but I think it's all sandable. So yeah, overall, it's definitely doable. Let's try sanding it real quick and seeing what happens. Oh, that's where I wanted to fill in. This one had this problem spot, so I'm gonna fill in this just a little more. Just a little bit. Why not? I'm already doing this. Okay, so basically on this one, there was a little line right here. This is the only part that I wasn't happy with. So I can quickly fill that in now just by adding some green additive here. Now I have it in there, kind of move it around. There we go. Get it in all the grooves. So it has to get down in this corner a little bit. There we go. Move it around in there. There we go. Looks good. Dry it now. And I think I filled that all in pretty well. A lot easier to fill it that way. And all these edges, it's really only here, so I gotta just clean this off, but only here is what's gonna be in contact with the other helmet to butt it up. So all these little spots here of adding material shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, right here is about the only spot that's a little thick and thin at the same time. Only thing I'm worried about now is, did I create a shell? But no, I'm poking at it hard. And it's not scraping or anything. So you'll see now, kind of just created like a little layer there. Fill in that layer line. Everything else looks good. This other spot should sand out now. And only right here. Let me see if I can get that quick. I doubt it. Okay. So all that should sand out nicely. Let it level out a second. Okay, dry it up. Okay, and that's it. Let's try sanding it now. So first thing I'm going to do, just in case there's any residual resin, is I'm going to just clean it off with some alcohol. Because there's always, feels like a little bit in there. Grab a new paper towel. Clean it off. Because you don't want this resin on your hands. That's the one thing everyone always says to protect yourself from, is the resin touching your hands. I'm assuming it's only the liquid resin, because no one ever talks about it after it's cleaned up. Okay. And how do you dispose of your excess resin? you just put it outside in the sun. So you just pour it like anything you want to dispose of. Let it all get exposed to sunlight, and then you have a chunk of resin you can throw away. Okay. So it all looks good. And so first thing I want to try, this blade is kind of dead, but let's just see, can I cut this off? No, it is pretty hard. So you can hear how hard this resin got, so that's a good sign. And that's just to make sure that the mating surfaces are good. Okay, so fix that issue. Because another thing I was thinking is my son doesn't like the feeling of the 3D print on his head, so I could use this resin to kind of fill in that, to make it like a smooth surface. So I gotta try that out also. That or just put some material in there, but there's these kind of pieces like this that are these little artifacts hanging up. And the supports inside the helmet were in there, and he doesn't like how that feels. So if I kind of sand it all down, it's still textured. So maybe if I put a little liquid, some of this resin on it, which I guess I'll just try real quick since I got some just sitting here. Just hit it like that. Cure it. There. Feel it. So yeah, now it's nice and smooth. Feels smooth. It's a little textured on the edge, but here it filled in all the gaps, so it's kind of a smooth surface. So I was gonna try that on there. Okay, let's get some sandpaper now. Where are you, sandpaper? Over here. We got 220 here. Okay. So let's get some sandpaper now. Don't need a lot of it. And I might wet sand it right from the beginning, but let's just see what it does. Wipe it off. Yes, it's taking off that material. It's nice and hard underneath it. What I'm looking for is just when it gets to about level with it. This is 220 grit, so It's gonna take a little bit of effort to get it all down. There we go. Yeah, really feels good. And I'm gonna try wet sanding it, see what happens. This just has baby powder / cornstarch in it. Okay, so let's see what we got now. Oh yeah. So there's still a couple of spots here, but this is all looking good and smoothed out. Here are some lines. So you will have to sand it pretty good afterwards if you're not careful. But that's just part of the job of 3D printing is sanding. What I was more worried about was, what's happening now. Let's see, with wet sanding. What happens to that cornstarch mixing with water? So it's kind of turning into a little slurry of its own. But overall, as far as layer lines go, I mean, there's nothing. It is 100% gone in those areas. So I'm gonna hit this and this just to see what happens. Pretty much at that point now where I can do wet sanding. Get it all now. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, smooth. Totally smooth. I'm gonna get it right there, just even it out, and right here to even it out. But all this that had all kind of bubbled up is now gone. And for the most part, I'm not gonna say the layer lines are 100% gone, but they're not noticeable. No one would question these layer lines. So you definitely smell the baby powder when you're sanding this now, but if it can go on a baby, I'm pretty sure it's going to be considered non-toxic for the most part. So I'm not too worried about inhaling this dust. And then the resin dust and stuff too. I don't know. That one I guess I should be worried about. So wear a mask. If I got the baby powder dust, I assume I got the resin dust too coming up. But what I was worried about was the cornstarch kind of turning into a slurry that I was gonna have to then like worry about it getting really hot. So yeah, other than me being a little lazy on my sanding here, it is smooth as normal plastic would be. So that's pretty good. You don't see any layer lines. You just see it as sanding artifacts now. So then with a little bit of primer or filler primer, you're 100% done. I don't see anything as far as what you would consider a layer line in there. Here, maybe just a little bit, but again, when you use a filler primer, you'll be fine. Just trying to see if I keep scrubbing it. What do we get? So nothing really. Yeah, just some filler primer and that's good to go. Don't need to really even sand that anymore because filler primer is going to do the rest. Or even just primer. I don't even know if I need filler primer. It's come out so good. Okay, let's clean up the rest of it now. So you'll see here when it's kind of wet, you get like this little goopiness to the sanding. It's not a huge deal, but once it dries out, it just comes off like normal. So let's see what we got now. Yeah, just gotta take it down here, here. Yes, now this looks good. Looks real good. Just checking to make sure I always have the detail still in there, that I'm not sanding that off. So that all looks good. Looks good all right there. Looks good right here. Got a little more effort under the eye. So the plan is to just release these videos as a whole and then do a synopsis video afterwards. So that what I find is when I'm watching these videos, they show you the final result, they show you the steps at a high level, but what were the little details that you ran into problems with that I run into also that I need to figure out? How did you figure that out? Or what tool did you use? So the long video is kind of there for you for that purpose, where the short synopsis video just kind of gives you that rundown. If you don't care, you just wanted to see the final result, you get to see it. But if you need or care to watch the whole thing, you can watch 1 hour of me sanding and primering, testing out. If I run into problems, you get to see all the problems I ran into. How did I get around them? What tools did I use? Yes. Okay, great. So that came out smooth, even though I had to fill in that gap. So you'll see there now. Ooh, ooh. That gap now is completely filled in and completely smoothed out. So no layer lines, and that problem spot is fixed. It's kind of getting that Batman color to it right now with the black because of all this powder and stuff all over it. But it should turn out really nice. So if you're a person who sells masks or makes masks for other people and you worry about them caring about layer lines, this is a quick and dirty way of doing it. And I think anyone would like. Okay, let's see what we got. Because honestly, the effort I put into doing all this compared to doing it the putty way that I've done in the past is dramatically easier to do it this way. And the results I'm getting are a lot nicer too because it's kind of even everything out. So when I'm sanding it, I'm sanding an even amount at the same time also, instead of the filler primer where I filled in a spot, but then when you sand it, you only want to sand that spot and not the entire material around it. And this kind of gives you a nice strong additive too, because I also find that putty stuff sometimes chips away after a while. My R2D2, I have a lot of it where I regretted using it in some spots. Okay, so that all looks good here on the front. Again, I plan to hit it with some primer, so any of the little sanding lines aren't a big deal. Let's continue on here now. I like to wet sand more than anything just because it keeps the dust down. Yes, looking good. That groove detail is still there. Really good. This one's all dirty, but it's still there. So it didn't fill in all those gaps, which is good. Do I need to do any more sanding on this portion? I don't think so. Looks good. Looks good. So now just this bottom part. Okay. Let's see what we got. Looks like a little more sanding on the edge. Not sure if that line's supposed to be there. I don't remember it being there. I'm going to leave it for now. Looks good. Clean out this groove. Looks good. Yeah, I mean, and overall, that is definitely the way to go in the future. Kept all the details in there that I cared about. It's easy to sand. Let's see here. Let's get this part a little better. I don't even think I need filler primer. So just a small amount of sandpaper was used to sand this all. I'm gonna put it under some water now just to get all the dust off and see what I got. So overall, after all that sanding, you don't see really any layer lines. The resin is minimal. Let's see after I dry it. Feels smooth. Looks smooth. Clean out this last bit of garbage in the cracks. Yes. It looks good. I'm definitely happy with this. On a scale 1 to 10, that's definitely like a 3 for how hard it was. Kept all the details in there. The eye still looks good. Sanding it wise, looks good. This is from all the supports. Clean it all out now. No, it looks great. So yeah, definitely give it a try. Again, all it was just baby powder and some UV resin from a resin printer. So nothing special there. You can get all this stuff on Amazon. I'll put a link on there. But yeah, I'm just going to be now sanding down the second one. I'm not sure what happened there though. I'm going to clean that up. There you go. So in the next video, I'll be painting it, primering it, painting it, and gluing in the magnets and trying it out. Now I'll have to decide also, because this guy is just a basic piece, so hopefully when I put this on there, all nicely done, when it's painted, will it need to be painted? I kind of even like it, the color it is now. Maybe I'll look for a matte black first and see how that looks before I go to glossy black or eggshell black or something. But it's looking good. It's coming. It'll be ready for Halloween. I'll be wearing this. My son will be wearing Deadpool. And then I have a cheap Chinese spandexy costume to make it kind of funny, because we was trying to be that serious with costumes. So I hope you liked that. If you did, please like and subscribe. Plenty of videos still to come. Again, I build a lot of robots, a lot for my sim rig. I have some force feedback pedals, robots. I am close to finishing a robot platform that's off-the-shelf parts, so that I can do some AI work with all the different 3D bodies that I have. So yeah, subscribe so you can keep up with all these videos. Thanks.